Hello, my friends. Just kind of want to show you something real quick that I see. I see the reflection of it. I see what it's showing when it's relating to God's people. On my screen here, you can see Megan Rapinoe, the Sportswoman of the Year of 2019. Of course, she is the outspoken lesbian soccer player that demanded equal pay rights for the women and the men. And there's a whole long load of things that have come with her and all of her stances and all of that kind of stuff. But none of that is important to what I'm going to speak here, as it's one thing, and I'm speaking of the reflection of it that you find in the church. You can look at her and you see she's dressed up and she's full of glory and she's worth it, and everything is perfect about her. She is perfect in all of her ways and all that she does. And you look at the church that is described in Revelation 17:18, the same church that Jesus describes as being lukewarm, the same one that Paul says has a form of godliness but denies thereon its power, the same church. This is exactly what she looks like. She's dressed as a queen. She's wearing her clothes of righteousness in her own eyes because of all of the good works that she does, and her spreading the gospel, and she's worth it. She is so worth it. She's worth the rapture coming to take her away. She can't spend another minute in this miserable, cut down world because she is worth being saved and rescued. She is all that the rapture is about. It's her and all her glory. And people hate Megan Rapinoe because she has no form of humbleness. Whenever she stood on stage, she's speaking about after she won the World Cup, how she deserved it. She deserved it. She deserved all that she's gotten. She deserved the praise. She deserved the glory of that trophy, and she worked hard to get there, and she's so just thankful for being her, all her glory. And that's why people hate her in America. Of course, she's the one that sits down for the national anthem being played. She hates the country that she plays for. She has everything wrong with the culture that is developed in this country and in the West altogether. She's everything wrong with it. And likewise, exactly what she is in the church also. She's everything wrong with it. She has no form of humbleness. She desires that the rapture comes, the rescue comes and takes her out of this miserable world because she looks at herself and all that she thinks she does for God and believes, God, how can you leave me here? Look at all I'm doing for you. I'm marvelous. Look at all of my works. I'm sending missionaries to foreign countries, making them twice the child of hell that I am. And I'm spreading the gospel all over the world, and then I'm teaching them to follow an old wineskin rather than drink the new wine. I'm teaching them, Lord, about all these things, and I have my nursery full of saved children that I have saved along my way. But don't look at what I do with these children when the doors are closed. Don't look at that. But I'm still saving them anyway. They've been worse off if they weren't for me, no matter what I do or think about them. So don't do that. Lord, I am worth every penny of the rapture. It's exactly how this church thinks, and that's why those who are of God and follow the new covenant, the one and only singular new covenant, why we look at this church and they bring out righteous indignation within us. That's how I look at this church. I feel a form of righteous indignation because do you know what I think of the rapture? I don't deserve it. I never did. I've done nothing to earn that rescue from what's about to happen to this world. I've done absolutely nothing to deserve it. I have no idea how I found favor in the eyes of God. I have no idea what he saw in me. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And I can look back at my deeds in the world, and I understand my place in the world. I know who I am. I know what I can be good at. I know what I'm not so good at. I understand my strengths and weaknesses, and everything that I do, nothing that I've ever done deserved what he's going to bring for me. Didn't deserve a bit of it. Maybe it was my kids that somehow the love that I developed for them, I grew in favor of God. I have no idea. No idea what I did. I have no idea. That's a form of somebody that you can understand, knows the debt that was paid for them. Somebody that actually knows God. They will have a form of humbleness that this church has nothing of it. All they can think about is themselves being taken out of this miserable world, a world that they don't deserve to live in, a struggle that they don't deserve, even though every single person that has been of God, what has happened to them throughout history? They've all been persecuted, they've suffered, they've been imprisoned, they've been put to death. They had to go all through that, but we don't deserve it because look at us. We're a queen sitting on a throne. I will never mourn. I will never mourn and be sorry because I am all of her glory. I'm all that is God. Look at all these works I do. And that's their thought process. It's not about on the rapture is a great and terrible day. Do you understand this, anybody who's listening to me? It is a terrible day. A necessary day, but a terrible one all at the same time. Yes, it is a great day. Those who know the Lord are taken up into the air, and we will then dwell with him throughout the tribulation period, and we will come back to this earth, and he will transform it in front of our very eyes to be the Garden of Eden. For 1,000 years we will dwell there before we go off to our eternal resting places. That's what awaits us. And ain't nobody that is ever born of God says that they deserve that over anybody else in the world. It's a great day for us, but it comes with a great day of humbleness for those who do not understand this, those who have not had their hearts mended to feel such as this. You got to understand on that day that most every single person that you know is not going up into the air to meet the Lord. Most every single one of them. The road is narrow. There is one first place winner. That means very, very few on the return of the Lord are prepared for him. There's many, many more. In fact, you're going to fill up heaven with all of these ones that will go to the Lord after the rapture happens. But before the rapture happens, there's very, very few who are actually going to win that prize. Some who are alive will not taste death. Some, meaning a small number. That's who's not going to taste death, because we all have been broken and molded into the image of God, even as we are sinful beings such as we are in this world. Our hearts have been changed to hate that sin, to hate death, and to be humble before God in all that we do, because we know we don't deserve a single thing that he's given us. God has transformed hearts of those who know him, and they have missed all of that transformation. Thus, why they're not prepared for the day of the rapture is because they haven't actually been born again. They haven't actually been transformed. They say that they are. They do all the right things, and they make sure and show you all the right things they do, and they talk about it, and they prepare you in the way that they're preparing the world, the same as someone playing a video game is going to give a hint of how to beat a video game. They do all these same things, the same as the world does, but not one of them knows God. Not one of them is humble before God. So as Megan Rapinoe, as she missed that penalty kick, and the United States women's team lost a match up against Sweden that they should have won, and they would have won if they didn't all hate the country and they had some reason to play for. They were as lukewarm as a soccer team as you can get, because they don't even believe that the cause that they were doing. They believe they're above it. The number one thing that she came out, they asked her a question. They said, what is the number one thing that you're gonna really be known for the most, that you want to be known for the most from your time playing soccer for the women's team? You know what she said? She said that the number one thing she hopes to be remembered for is getting equal pay for the women. When they ask her a question about her entire career, going through multiple stages and levels and multiple tournaments over the whole world, the one thing that you want to be remembered for is money? That is just like this harlot church that I have been brought to speak against. That's exactly what her thoughts and concerns are. They're about money. They're about the physical things in the world, and they love it. They love their praise. They love their advertisements. They love selling you gold and silver. They love telling you to go make sure you're prepping for months and months so that you're going to survive whatever. Well, the rapture's coming. He's going to take us away. But if it doesn't come, we got to be prepared. This generation of church believes they can get to God and do it on their own. And you know what? God's going to give them that option. He's going to give them that ability. You go right ahead. You want to do this on your own? You want to prep and survive what's about to come? You go right ahead and prep and try to survive what's about to come. You want to praise and call something holy that is evil, and you want to call something that is good evil? Go ahead, you go right ahead and do that and see what happens when I come. And you're standing in front of me as I'm closing the door to the ark, and you're not going up into it. You want all of that? Here you go. You can have it. You want to get your way to me outside of Christ? Here's your way. God's giving them over to this mindset, this thought, this blindness, this stumble block. He's giving them over to it. And not a single one of them can see it, that they're saying peace and safety. The rapture is peace and safety, when sudden destruction is what is coming upon them. And all because they have not humbled themselves before God. They have not been broken by the Spirit to see who they are. They have not taught the gospel because they're speaking a different gospel. They're making two different paths when the gospel is one singular covenant. And they're leading people astray by saying that we hold the key to the kingdom. In other words, you subscribe to my channel and give me money and buy my products and listen to me speak and listen to every single thing that I say and praise me for it. Better not disagree with me. If you disagree with me, then yeah, you better not do that. But you need to listen and follow me because I hold the key to heaven. In other words, that's what this church teaches. If you listen to my doctrine, you stay inside of my cult, you do exactly what I want you to do, you praise me, you give me glory and honor, you buy my products, you're going to heaven because here I hold the key. But what does it say in Revelation? Who holds the key? It's Jesus Christ who holds the key. It's Him. It's through His covenant, His grafting of where that key is. And all of these ones that follow this path of the beast, who are the woman who's never going to mourn. She is perfect in all that she does. All of her ways are spotless and blemishless. Whenever the day of the Lord comes, whenever the rapture happens, and she's behind, only then will the scales come down from her eyes. Because right now, the church is just like Megan Rapinoe, full of herself, full of pride, not godly in any way at all in the spirit, only on the outside, only the things that look good in the world, not godly at all in their hearts. When the day of the rapture comes, they're all going to be standing like Megan Rapinoe. And what did she say after she missed that kick? Oh, I feel like it's a dark, cruel joke. Days of darkness are coming upon that church. And that is why as soon as I saw this, the spiritual answer came to me of exactly what was going on there, what I was to see. It was a foreshadowing of the reaction, the response, and what this church that I speak against is doing every single day. Rather than being prepared for the rapture, God has handed them over to their own heart. And when He comes on that great and terrible day, and they're left back, seeing that God will acknowledge those of us who stood for Him. He will acknowledge us, even though we don't care about His acknowledging us. That's not our desire. Our desire is not to be praised. Our desire is to be lowly and meek. But He will do it anyway to prove a point that we did nothing to deserve heaven, but we believed in Him, and that was enough for Him. Meanwhile, they do all of these things, have all of these different denominations and all these different works that they do and all this stuff that they're working their way to heaven, and it was worth nothing whenever God actually came and stood in front of them. The same thing that happened 2,000 years ago with the Jews, it's a repeat of that on the day of the rapture. God bless.